A rally is ramping up right now outside the Ministry of Labor on University Avenue. Dozens of workers and advocates making their voices heard here. One day after the provincial government announced it will follow through with plans to roll back labor reforms introduced by the previous Liberal government, and that includes a minimum wage increase, a freeze to that, so it will be capped at $14 an hour. Joining me now is Pam Frake with the 15 and Fairness campaign. Pam, tell me why you guys organized this rally today.
Well, this is just a sample of the concern that exists all across the province after the government tabled legislation that, if passed, would not just freeze wages, but actually would amount to a real dollar cut for millions of workers in this province. The government also announced that it's going to be getting rid of paid sick days, which is a matter of basic health and safety for ordinary people, for all the people who can't afford to stay home when they have the flu or can't afford to stay home when their child is sick. So today is in response to the legislation, and we're here to say to the Premier of the province, sir, it is not too late to do the right thing and to roll back, to take away your own legislation and make sure that our new labour law reforms continue and take effect as scheduled in January.
He did mention he was going to do this during the election. Are you surprised that he actually followed through with it?
Well, actually, to be honest, there was very little campaigning. Had the Premier gone to the doorsteps of Ontario saying, I'm going to cut your wages, I doubt that would have been a vote getter. So it wasn't actually clear during the election, and the Premier does not have a mandate to take away our $15 minimum wage and roll back our wages. And I think that's why the outrage across the province is so visceral today, because this is going to be devastating to families in Ontario. This is real hardship that the Premier announced. And I'll add to this that the Premier campaigned on governing for the people. He promised that help is coming, that help is on its way. Well, he has shown that he's not standing with the people. In fact, the only people that support rolling back the $15 minimum wage are big businesses, companies that profit from sub-poverty wages. And the reality is that the vast majority, not only is it the vast majority of Ontarians support a $15 minimum wage, the vast majority of small businesses support a $15 minimum wage. Why? Because the vast majority already pay better than $15 an hour, and that's because small businesses of all can't afford to have their staff turnover every time a slightly better job comes along. They need to invest in their employees, and that's why so many small businesses actually support a $15 minimum wage.
And we are right in the thick of this protest on University Avenue. You're looking at a giant Doug Ford puppet that the workers are carrying with them, and they're yelling "not for the people" while they march. And joining me now is a business owner. This is Jolene Pierce. She's also with the Better Way Alliance. Jolene, tell me why you're in support of this minimum wage increase.
I own a business here in Toronto. I have 10 staff. They're great. I think it's really sad and devastating about the rollback to workers' rights for the workers across Ontario. So I'm here to show support and say I am for workers' rights, and there are many, many other business owners like myself.
And why do you think it is doable for someone who, you said you just started your business recently?
I started 3 years ago. Wages are hard to come up with the money, but you know what? It's more than worth it. When you pay a decent wage, a fair wage, your employees are loyal and they respect you. And when you get respect, your business succeeds. So it's a no-brainer, and anyone can cope as long as you plan ahead.
Really quickly, what do you think of this turnout right now?
It's a lot of people. I've never been walking down the middle of University Avenue like this with so many people around me. So I'm pretty impressed with the turnout. And I hope that the government listens, and I hope that the people of Ontario get really energized and fight for improved rights for themselves and others.
We are live outside Queen's Park, where a labor protest is just wrapping up. There were hundreds of protesters here. They actually started outside the Ministry of Labor down the street on University Avenue. They shut down the street, marched here, chanting in protest of the province's decision to freeze minimum wage increases. They say that it isn't right, it's unacceptable, that they deserve fair pay. So hundreds of people were here, labor groups, workers, business owners, marched down, shut down the street again to make their voices heard. They ended here at Queen's Park and chanted here for a while, and now it looks like it's wrapping up. However, they say that these protests will keep going in the coming months until they get what they deserve.